All right, good evening, everyone. It is about 11 p.m. on Friday, November 16th, 2018. Hope everybody's doing well. And just a quick highlight from this past week. And it was an unusual week. Not a lot of stuff going on early on, but Friday was actually pretty active. For a Friday, it was pretty impressive. It was actually my best day of the week. So just a couple of trades here I just wanted to highlight and just point out what I was seeing here. So first we got the U.S. Canadian, and this is the 1 hour chart. So let's see. I'm going to go to the. Yeah, I guess we'll leave it at the 1 hour. So we go out a little bit here on the U.S. Canadian. We've been kind of hugging this trend line right here, moving to the upside, and I do think eventually we're going to break down below this trend line. But for now, we've made one, two, three. We've made a fourth, basically a fourth touch today. And so we go down to the 1 hour here. I basically can see a five-wave Elliott wave trend here. One, two, three, four, five. And so I was watching this today, and we started painting this big red candle here. And I got in at this point. I got out here. Actually, I had a stop. I had a take profit level here. I wasn't in front of my computer, so I drew my take profit here, basically just above the trend line. You can see it just pretty much hit that exactly, and then it shot back up. It did start to come back down again at the end of the trading session. So this might continue down, but it will eventually be looking for a breakout on this pair. Um, you know, one way or another. But for now, it's respecting this trend line, and so I wanted to point that out. Um, Australian dollar. Now the Aussie has been much like the New Zealand dollar has been really been supported lately, and so I've been basically taking pieces out of this up move. This is the daily chart on the Aussie, and I've been taking pieces out of this all along. And so, uh, especially I took one here originally when it retested this trend line, and I got out, and I got back in today. But we basically can pretty much see a five-wave pattern uh, in place here, although this little wick on this candle right here technically violates an Elliott wave rule, a primary rule, which is that wave two should never surpass the origin of wave one. So if this is a 1-2, wave one, wave two, this wick really violates it because it goes below the low of this, but it did close at wave two. So yeah, I might be willing to let that go, although technically it's a violation. So wave one was about 124 pips. Now, this is clearly longer here. It's about 146. But anyways, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So drilling down a little bit. Like I said, I took pieces of these trades all the way through. So here we are back on the 4 hour. And basically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Um, so I got in long today. I was watching this correction right here. And I happened to see this green candle forming pretty aggressively on the 1 hour chart earlier today. So I jumped in right here before I took out these highs because it looked really aggressive on the lower time frames. And I got out here. I did leave a little bit on the table. This is about 20 more pips or so here. But I was not in front of my computer, so I purposely took a little bit more conservative take profit here just because I wasn't going to be around to watch it. And I'm not going to be greedy. I'm going to take what the market gives me. So we did have some pulling back here at the market close, very, very typical. But I do think that the Australian dollar will continue to go up. We may get a little correction, but we've broken this longer term trend line on the daily chart, and I do think we'll continue to see the Australian appreciate. There's been a lot of really good fundamentals. We had employment news came out this week was positive. Um, we had especially full-time jobs was very positive. It's just kind of there was no reason to fight, the positive sentiment and fundamentals the Australians been having the last couple of months. And so this employment report that came out earlier this week certainly did not diminish the positive sentiment around the Aussie. So there's no reason to believe that this uptrend won't continue, because the news has been positive. So that was the Australian dollar. And let's see, Australian Canadian, basically the same reason. This is the, let's zoom out a little bit here. So again, here's the daily chart of the Australian Canadian. So from an Elliott wave standpoint, I think we're still in wave three. So here's 1, 2, 3. You probably need to see a little bit more consistent correction here. Probably a sideways correction that we'll get at some point, and then we'll make another move up. But this uptrend is definitely not over. However, in the short term, it could be ending. I'm looking at this basically as the wave three. 1, 2, maybe 3, 4, 5. I do think we'll get a correction from this point. But again, longer term, this trend is not over. Again, on the daily chart, if this is the wave one right here, which went up about 267 pips, I think once this wave three ends, we'll get a correction here, and then we'll go up another 276 points or so, somewhere up to around this area. So I continue next week to look for longs, although I would not be surprised if we see a substantial correction. I took 2 trades here. That's why you see 2 arrows. I got in long twice, and I got out at the same point. And you see this one, I nailed it right at the top here. This was a set and forget, and I got out right here, and then the market closed with some profit taking. So that's the Aussie Canadian. And let's look at the Kiwi Canadian. The Kiwi has been very much supported. And this is when I left more pips on the table, but again, I was not around this afternoon. And Friday afternoon, the market really kind of dies out. You can definitely give back some profit. So again, this chart looks almost exactly like the Aussie dollar or the Aussie Canadian we were just looking at, right? Is that what we were just looking at here? Aussie Canadian on the daily chart. Yeah, I mean these 2 charts look almost identical. Look at this. So here's the Kiwi Canadian, and here's the Aussie Canadian. Almost identical. And so same thing here. I've taken pieces of this out along the way, and here's the trade I took today. And that was a small trade, but this is clearly a correction and an uptrend. As soon as I saw this green candle forming, I jumped in because it looked pretty aggressive on a lower time frame. Here it is on the 15-minute, and I basically looked at this as an ABC pattern and figured this was it. It was going to go up from here. So I would say again that we'll see a correction here, but this uptrend in general is not over. This is probably the wave 3. I think we'll have a significant more uptrend, and the wave 5 will at least be as long as this right here, which is oops, lost my crosshairs here. 340 pips. So I would expect that final wave 5 to be at least that long. So a lot more to go. Be on the lookout for longs in the Kiwi Canadian, but be prepared for some definitely for some pullback a little bit, but be looking for longs. All right, and so that's it. So that was all today, guys. I had a couple of other ones. I had the Kiwi Swiss. I took a small profit on, and what else? Yeah, those are the main Aussie dollar, US Canadian. Yeah, that was the main one. So it was a good Friday. Again, pretty unusual for a Friday to have these kind of strong moves. But again, the main thing again to note with all these trades is the longer term trend. So again, here we are back on the Aussie Canadian. Here's the weekly chart. You definitely, started making a strong move up here. The daily, we've got a strong move up. The 4 hour, we've got a strong move up. So really, until this tells you otherwise, you should only be looking for longs on this pair. Now, it's not to say you can't trade counter trend, but I would not be looking to short this market because it's been holding pretty well here. So here was your wave one on the Aussie Canadian right here. You had a nice little ABC pattern down, ABC for wave two. Then you had this leading diagonal for wave three, and then we just continued up. So again, I think wave three is probably nearing the end. So probably see a correction, from here. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes back to this trend line or somewhere around here, 50, 60 pip retracement, and then we'll go up for this final wave. So until we see a larger correction. So, that was really it. Um, I do think there'll be some good opportunities next week, although it is a holiday week, guys. So, we may not see too much, beyond Tuesday. Wednesday, things will start to really quiet down. And then Thursday and Friday, the market will be open, of course, but there are holidays in the U.S. So outside of the London session, things will be pretty quiet during the U.S. session on Thursday and Friday this week with Thanksgiving and then Friday. So, but should be some good things coming though as we round out the year. But I just wanted to make this quick video about some of the stuff we saw today. If you have any questions, guys, let me know. And I appreciate you watching, and I hope you all have a great weekend. And we will talk to you all soon. Okay, thanks.